Alright, hey y'all, it's your buddy, 16-Bit Gambit, coming at you with a quick side quest video. So, during the last video, I started complaining because I noticed that when I was switching between debug mode in windowed versus full screen, the scale of all the different items was becoming a bit of a pain. And I kind of made an off comment about how, if I was better at programming in Godot, or if I was smarter, I'd figure out how to, inside of the code, determine which mode we were currently in, and then I would automate the scale or the stretch and all those items that were looking kind of weird based on that code. So when I was prepping for what should have been this video, I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole, and I put together how to do that one in code. So this video is just going to be a little bit of a quick side quest as I'm preparing for that next larger video. But I figured I'd share it with you because I had not seen this one in a tutorial so far. So to get started, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that all of my items that are in the table of contents are defaulting to scale 1 over here, typically under transform. So parent node, the character body 2D, the camera, I'm going to set that one to 1 in the X and 1 in the Y. The canvas layer also going to default to 1 and 1. And so once I've got everything back to scale at 1, 1, and you can see that just based on the pixel dimensions that I'm working with in the game in debug mode, all the stuff is just not the right size to be really usable. And so what I'm going to do is, right now we're in full screen because that's the only way I can get recorded with the software. I will take screenshots of examples in windowed mode and in full screen. But what I can do is I can test it in full screen. I can detect that it's in full screen or maximized in Windows or windowed, and then inside of an if statement, I can set the stretch on those key items, mainly being the camera and the canvas layer, to make sure that all the proportions are good, whether you're choosing to go full screen or choosing to go windowed. So step 1 I already did. I went through and all those items that I'd messed with, the zoom or the scale, I set those to 0. Next is I'm going to, for right now, go inside of the character script, but this seems like something that once I start adding script to the map mode, I'm going to move it from the player script to the map mode. But that one's going to be for a later day once I start breaking out the nodes to be template scenes. So I'm going to define a couple of variables real quick. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to define as variables onReadyVar readout. That's going to be my canvas layer. And I'm just going to re-add that one real quick because I'm a little bit paranoid. And onReadyVar camera, and that's going to be my camera 2D that are already in there. Next is I'm going to use this if statement that I'm going to temporarily paste inside of ready. So if displayServer.window_get_mode equals 3, the value that returns is going to be full screen. If that statement returns a 2, then it's going to be maximized, and if that statement returns a 0, then that's going to mean that we're currently in windowed mode. And I'm also very quickly going to define as a variable something that I'm calling screen mode, which is just going to be a string, and I'll add it up at the top for, I guess, like runner variables or system variables, primed to be moved to my game runner node whenever I create that one. So screen mode :string. Going back down, we're going to take a look at this statement again real quick. If displayServer.window_get_mode equals 3, screen mode equals full. If it's equal to 2, maximized. If it is equal to 0, windowed. And then the if statement that I'm going to use based on that one is right here, which I figured these numbers out when I was doing my practice run. So if screen mode equals full, the the scale or the stretch that I thought was best for the canvas layer was 5 and 5, and it saves this one as a vector 2, even though defaulting, if you update one of those numbers, then both of them update. Real quick, if I click on canvas layer and I click over to if I go demonstrate under demonstrate with map display, if I update one of these, because these ones are currently locked, then the other one will update. So if I change that to 2, then the Y is going to become 2, and back to both 1. So ultimately, this variable will update both of those. So for full screen, the scale or the zoom for both of those is going to be 5 and 5. Maximize, they're both pretty close. Windowed, 3 and 3. So for the sake of cleanliness, I guess, what I'm going to do is, instead of leaving all this stuff underneath of ready, I'm going to make both of those their own functions. So under ready, I'm going to create a function called get window mode and another function called set zoom. And that first one, get window mode, at least the way that I'm programming this, is going to be function get window mode, and that's where we're going to put the if statements, where we are calling to display server dot window underscore get underscore mode equals equals, and based on the number returned, we're going to set these string values. Yes, it would be cleaner, I guess, to just say, okay, set this to an integer, and if it's equal to 3 or 2 or 0, then based off that, I don't know which one is officially the right answer, because later on, if I've got the code running and I'm stepping through the code, then I can hover my mouse over this one, and on the off chance I forgot 320, if it's a string that says full or maximize or windowed, I'm going to know what that one means. Or that could just be making a lazy excuse. I'll leave it to y'all's opinion. And the next function, set zoom, is going to contain these if statements right here. So this one basically being it, I'll go ahead and I'll run it once in windowed mode, and I'll have to go ahead and put a screenshot in there so you can see how the proportions make sense. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click play, and then I'll put just the static screenshot on top. And where's your interesting 124 extends character body to D. Oh, dummy. Okay, real quick, I forgot to define screen mode using var, so it got mad at me. I kind of blinked for a second. So, going back into it. And as you can see in the full screen as well, the proportions look pretty good. So yeah, this could apply to a number of other things. For instance, if you've got labels and font sizes that you would like to control based on the zoom, you can use the same sort of logic for that one as well. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. So yeah, that was once that one is instituted, it's actually pretty simple, but it was something that I realized I could kick the can down the road for a little while. Hopefully you learned something you didn't already know. Also, once again, we have an Instagram page now, so if you go there, you can check out the concept art for what this character was supposed to look like. That is at 16_bit gambit, and that one's on Instagram, so come on over and take a look, maybe like or follow. And also, to remind you, the next video in the main line is going to be adding an active stamina bar to the character that gets drained when you run and you attack. Also, successful attacks will charge up for a power attack, and then adding a cooldown if you overuse your stamina. So that one should be pretty fun. It's going to be pretty valuable. Looking forward to having you there. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, criticisms, please feel free to put those in the comments. Otherwise, like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Thanks.